Hi, I'm Joni with Looking at Careers with Joni, and I'm here today with Mitch Adams. Mitch developed a product that is a weighted basketball. The company is called Perfect Rotation. So, Mitch, why don't you tell us a little bit about how you came up with this product and what this basketball can do for youth and adults today?
Well, thanks, Joni, for having me. First off, the idea was born December of 2016. My sons at the time were about 19 and 16. Yeah, 19 and 16. And they challenged me to a game of basketball. And I thought, they're young, they're springy. I don't really want to compete with them running to the basket. I'll shoot over them. So I
Mm,
grabbed a medicine ball and I was laying on the couch as I used to do as a youth with a basketball or anything that I could shoot to kind of hone my skills. And I was shooting this medicine ball, and it's a medicine ball with indented handles on it. So it's still
hmm
round, but they're cutouts for handles. And my hand went inside one of the handles. And when I shot it, I got a perfect rotation on the shot. And I
Wow.
was like, oh my goodness. And I jumped up and I started looking through the internet. I said, there's got to be a ball out there like that. There was nothing. And I called my nephew who just graduated art school and I said, hey, I can't draw, but here's an image. And I took a picture and sent him this crude drawing. And
Uh-huh.
he actually sent back an image very similar to the drawing here,
Oh,
minus minus the wording.
yeah.
And I was able to take the drawing that because he just visualized it immediately. And I said, I need a basketball with grooves around the circumference. And I said, on every panel. And he did it. And it was
Wow.
awesome. And I was able to use that months later April of 2017, when I met with a patent attorney and she saw the image and she's like, wow, this is neat. She said, I'll run a patent search to see if there's anything out there similar to this and I'll get back to you. And within a few weeks, she called and said, there's nothing out there like it. Why don't you run with it? So over the course of the next 4 years, 2017 to 2021, I navigated the patent process. So I went from one patent to four,
Oh, wow.
which included a trademark. So I have four patents and a trademark on variations of variations of the ball with patented channels on it,
Okay.
or anything with finger placements. And I'll show you how we use this.
Uh-huh.
Um, and then I took that same image, sent it to a drafting company. They created the specs of the ball, the size 7 ball, which is the official size that men use.
hmm
So they took the drawing, broke it down into individual panels, and did the measurements for each of the channels and the panel itself. And I was able to take those drawings, well, which were also used for the patent process,
Uh-huh.
or the patent drawings went in, or the drawings went inside the patent, and everything that was filed with the patent office. And I took those drawings also and sent them to a 3D modeling company. And I had 3D
Oh,
models made so that people could actually hold something that, rather than just look at it, they were like, oh my God, this is okay. Here's the product. We see your vision.
right.
And I kept a lot of this information close to the vest because I'm like, wow, this is a great idea. I don't want it to get out there. Let me
Sure.
hold it until I feel comfortable. And it was in, I think it was April of 2019 or 2020. No, 2019. The patent attorney called. I was on the golf course and she says, the patents are yours. And I'm like,
Wow.
what? She said, you can move forward now. And I didn't even know I told my buddies, and one of the guys had gone to grad school with me or the same program at University of San Francisco sports management program. And I'd shared a lot with him because we were kind of in the same industry and doing the same things. And I'm
Sure.
like, Bob, the patents are mine. And he was like, he did the same thing, like, wow, whoa. He said, dude, he said, you know what that means? I said, yeah, now I have to find a way to get it manufactured. So, we laughed and joked that round of the infinite possibilities of what this could lead to, and I had to find a manufacturer.
Hmm.
And so I took that model and I would share it with people, whether photographs or having it under my arm. And I was at dinner one night with friends and with the friend's dad, and he was asking me what's happening, what's going on, and I shared. I said, "Oh, by the way, I'm looking for someone to help me make a prototype." And he says, "Oh, a friend of mine just had a prototype made. Where?" He said, "Well, I don't know." He said, "But she's a doctor on the East Coast."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Well, can you ask if she'd mind if I contact her?" Within a day, he called me and said, "Here's her information." So I called her and I shared who I was.
Hmm.
And she told me, "Oh, I have a person right there in Marin County, which is right across the bridge from where I live here in the East Bay in
Uh-huh.
California. And it's just north of San Francisco." And I drove over, took the 3D model with me and some drawings, the draftings, and he said, "Oh yeah, I can get that made for you." And within a few weeks, we sent off to China, had the molds made, and they sent it back. And it's a very crude model prototype,
Hmm.
but it served its purpose.
Sure.
And from there, I said, "Wow, now I just need to find a manufacturer." He said, "Well, as luck would have it, we deal with the Berkeley sourcing company." I said, "They're called Berkeley because they're right here in Berkeley?" And he said, "Yes." He says, "I'll
Wow.
introduce you." And so I talked to the Berkeley sourcing company, and they have boots on the ground in China, and they found 7 manufacturers for me within a month.
Wow.
And so those 7 were whittled down to 1, the same company that makes the Wilson and the Spalding basketball. And so we have communicated um, through hand signals and yes. She doesn't speak much English, and I don't speak a lick of Mandarin or Cantonese. So I
uh,
bought a translation tool
oh, wow.
that I speak into. It ports what I say into my phone, then I can text it to her, and we communicate via text.
And that works well.
And oh, genius! So she bought
Wow.
one and did the reverse with English, but her
Uh,
English is far better than my
sure.
uh, Chinese.
Uh,
And whichever dialect, I don't even know which dialect she used. And we worked together for almost an entire year just with translation devices, and it worked beautifully. And then one of the young ladies in the master's program that I went through, again at the University of San Francisco, um, hit me one day on LinkedIn asking if I would do an interview with her.
hmm.
And I said, "Of course, I'd love to give back to the program any chance I can." She happened to be in China because of the pandemic because she couldn't travel to the US and asked
Uh,
what she could do to help me. I said, "Well, when I have phone calls with my manufacturer, would you mind jumping on the calls?" She said, "I'd
hmm.
love to." So we'd have a call, the 2 of us, and she has the same last name as my manufacturer.
Oh, interesting.
So
A common
Summer
name.
and
Yeah.
Amy. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Anyway, so I would have a call with Summer before the call with Amy at the manufacturer and tell her exactly what I wanted to touch upon.
Uh-huh.
I would share that with her in English, and then we'd do a 3-way with
Hmm.
video chat and everything, and then Summer would talk to Amy. I would tell Summer exactly what I wanted to say. She'd share with Amy. So our phone calls were the time on the calls were cut in half. So
Wow.
everything that I had needed, and let's not by any stroke of the imagination make it sound like this was easy
Sure.
because it was very difficult. And it took a lot of money, time and effort, patience, hope, faith,
Sure.
trust. I mean, Yeah, it was tough, but
I get it. Yeah.
everything that I have needed has presented itself in some form or another along the way, because I ventured down a path I knew nothing about. I come from a career in sales, whether it be in the sports arena or with legal
Mm.
software companies. I didn't know what I was doing, but I had
You knew a
faith.
little bit.
I knew a little, and I think having gone through the program at USF really helped me draw a roadmap and knew I knew the direction I want to go,
Sure.
but I didn't know how many steps it would take. I didn't know
Yeah.
this tick mark that I'm checking off may cover 10 or 15 steps.
Right.
And I might think I have one more step to go, and then it turns into 20 more steps. So it's been it's
Sure.
been it's been a struggle, and the
But yours
pandemic didn't
is,
help.
oh, I'm sure. Yours is the only weighted basketball that has the finger grips.
Yes, yes, because there are other weighted balls
Right.
that you can use to dribble once this ball is filled with air, because it
Mm-hmm.
arrives deflated.
Mm-hmm.
Once it's filled with air, you can dribble it.
Uh huh.
Also, you can pass it. And of course, you can shoot it. And the
Uh huh.
beauty of it is when you look at a golfer or baseball or softball player, what the golfer does before hitting a ball or warming up, they might grab a couple of clubs
Mm-hmm.
and swing it for the added weight to what they're doing is activating their golf swing muscles.
Right.
So then when you get over the ball, you're loose, you're ready to activate those muscles to hit that ball. Baseball players, softball players are in the batter's box. I mean the on deck circle, and you see them put a donut on the bat, a weighted donut, or grab a heavy bat, and they swing that as the pitcher's pitching to the batter in front of them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they're activating their hitting muscles.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is the same. Before practice and after practice, you might get a few shots up just by flicking the fingers, like you're scratching the sky or the ceiling,
Uh huh.
just flicking it. And what it does, it incorporates your shooting muscles, but it really gets the fingertips involved. A lot of people shoot with their palm, and they
Mm-hmm.
don't get a lot of fingertip in that finger flick. You might see a flat ball go to the basket when, in
Sure.
essence, you want that nice rotation.
Uh huh.
And this really fosters the finger flick into that shooting motion. And so you're gaining strength from fingertips to shoulder on your shooting side rather than just from palm to shoulder.
Got it.
And it helps you center the ball by positioning your hands in the center of the channel. You have a point of reference when
Mm-hmm.
using the ball. And so when you
Mm-hmm.
go to grabbing a regular basketball, you, not that you need to center it, but the psyche of it is that okay, my hand is in the middle of the ball
Right.
and I shoot, not to the side or the other side. Hmm.
Even I get it. So you didn't have a real understanding of the manufacturing process,
No.
but you do have a sports background. So you've
Yeah.
been around different sports arenas. Talk to me a little bit about your background.
Well, I played sports growing up
Hmm.
and competitively, and after high school, kind of went by way of the road, but I still coached. I would go out, I coached baseball,
Hmm.
13, 14, 15-year-olds for a number of years. And then when I had kids, I coached their teams for a number of years. And these were anywhere from five, 6, 7, 8. Well, it's supposed to be 6, 7, 8, but we stuck my 5-year-old on. And then,
Help. It's all who you know, right?
right. And then I helped coach with the bigger team, the 9, 10, 11-year-olds. And so I did that on my time. But as far as a profession, I sought out a master's degree. Well, I thought about a law degree because I always wanted to be a sports agent. And then I saw USF had a sports management program, and I knew someone that had gone through the program, and I called them and talked to him about it. said, Mitch, it's really good. And he said, it's new. You'd be one of the first to go through it. And I really enjoyed my time there. And so part of the
How long
program,
is that program?
it's 2 years,
Okay.
2 years. And the program calls for you to get an internship with a sports related entity somewhere along the way. And I believe it's 160 hours that you have to complete. And so I started at USF January of 2000.
Uh-huh.
But September of 1989, I'm knocking on the Oakland Raiders door. And I remember I met with Morris Bradshaw for the Raiders, and he's one of the senior administrators there. And well, he's retired now, former
Hmm.
player, played for the team, then worked for the team later on a few years after his retirement.
Hmm.
And he asked me, he says, why are you here? He said, you don't start your master's program for another 3 or 4 months. I said, I just need to get a jump on the competition. I said, I don't want anybody to beat me to this internship. He said, well, we probably have more than one. I said, well, I want this one.
Uh-huh.
And he said, well, I can't use you now. He said, but call me in April, right after the draft. And that's when things heat up for us. And I stayed in contact with him. And come April, I was right there. And I mean, they really threw me into the fray. And it was wonderful. So for 2 years I interned, and after 2 years, and they asked if I would come back and produce a show. It's called the Legend Show. What that was is we brought in former players for every home game. George Atkinson, one of the former players, also was our host, and I produced a show for them every game.
Uh-huh.
And so all of the players that I grew up idolizing were my guests.
Oh, fun.
And you talk about a who's who from Raiders lore. All of a sudden, they're best friends with me now. Hey, Mitch,
Wow.
we're in town. We're having beers at this bar. Come join us. Or we're playing golf. Where are you? It still is amazing.
Yeah,
And
that's the
I,
good life.
it was a dream. It was certainly
Yeah.
a dream, but I loved it. And then one of the players asked if I would come and work for him running a sports program around the country. And we did fantasy football camps for adults. And the two largest um, camps that we did was at USC and UCLA. And this is when Pete Carroll was winning national championships. So in the mid 2000s, I find myself in this whirlwind of excitement.
Uh-huh.
And a former Raider, Rod Martin, who played at USC and obviously for the Raiders, called me. He said, if you thought that Raider thing was big, wait till you get a hold of what we do here at USC. And I'm like, okay, wow. It was insane.
Wow.
And we had 160 campers that paid anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000 to come in and participate with us over 2.5 days. And we put them in hotels and treated them like players. And they'd come out on the field and they'd run through the drills, and we divided them into teams. And it culminated into a large event in the LA Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
And we had on the jerseys with national championship patches on them.
Wow.
And the who's who from USC was there. And it was insane is the only word I can use to describe it. It was I'm still in awe when I look at the pictures of who was there, and from Heisman Trophy winners to
Um,
um, national champions, from I mean players from the 50s and 60s, 70s, 80s. Yeah, it was
yeah.
crazy. And
Wow.
and we did this around the country, and
Mm-hmm.
but USC was our largest event, and
Mm-hmm.
incredible,
Wow.
incredible.
Let me interrupt you because I think you've just shown me two things. One of the most important things to get into any industry, but especially the sports industry, is persistence.
Oh yeah,
And networking plays a big part because it's often who you know.
yeah, yeah.
So you were good at both of those things. You were persistent and good at getting your name out there and networking with the right people or getting to the right people.
I did. And unfortunately, along the journey, we must have done a great job because another company swooped in and wanted to take over what we were doing. And they offered to run the day to day, which I was doing at no
Oh,
charge for the next X amount of years, in the hopes of packaging this and putting it out in every college campus. So out I went,
sure. Yeah.
and that's how I found myself in technology sales.
Okay. How did you, what skills transferred? Because I know when you don't have the technology background or the legal background, because you were in legal, it's hard to break in and sell a new product that you don't have experience with. What skills did you sell when you went for those interviews?
Relationship building,
Okay.
and just an understanding that in order to sell something, you need to foster a relationship with that person, find out exactly what they need and sell to that need. And they were looking for something new at Case Central, and I found myself there in legal technology sales. And I'd had a sales background, working for a financial institution early on, and then working for Philip Morris in a sales capacity. So everything that I've done and everything that all of us do is sell ourselves every day.
Sure.
And that's what I did in the interview, and
Hmm.
got in there, understood what corporations and or law firms were looking for,
Hmm.
and dove in the deep end. And within a few weeks, I thoroughly understood exactly what we were doing and was able to do very well there at Case
That's
Central.
that's great. That's great. And now you've given it all up and gone into something on your own. And I know that's scary because I've done it more than once. Um, are you ready for that journey, or do you think you need something on the side to keep you going?
Well, I am actively looking because I have not worked in for a company in going on 2 years. May of 2020 is when my last technology company let me go due to COVID restructuring. And I've
Mm-hmm.
enjoyed the time off. It allowed me to focus on the business.
Mm-hmm.
However, COVID did throw a monkey wrench into my plans, and things are slower than expected. My accounts were hacked,
Mm-hmm.
so social media, and just a huge mess, which stopped my momentum last year. And we didn't get that all straightened out until early last month in February. So I have two size balls. I have this one. This one should be up and running by the end of this week or the beginning of next week. Should be
So adult and youth is what you've got.
adult and youth, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so I may need to find. I may need,
But are
who knows
you
what's going to
out?
happen.
Are you out pounding the pavement to sell those to like schools or
Well, I'm glad you
younger
asked.
teen?
I did visit with the Boys and Girls Club yesterday, and they
Uh
want
huh.
me to be a part of their grand opening, one of the facilities here in the Bay Area. Which, once I get a foothold there, and their
Mm-hmm.
grand opening is in April,
Mm-hmm.
other other locations, other counties will see the same thing going on and perhaps bring me in as well. Monday, I visited with the school and took the kids through the paces in the classroom. So yeah, I'm out there, and there's an event coming up. Uh, is it next week or the week after? So many things have been thrown my way really quickly in the last couple of weeks. Another program here in Oakland where at Garfield Elementary, the kids will go through the paces with some sports clinics, and they want me to participate. So yeah, things are happening.
Yeah,
And
I have a feeling you're going to do okay with all your networking and reaching out to the right people. People are going to start buying this. So let me ask you, if somebody that's watching this today is interested in buying one of these perfect rotation balls, where can they find you? Where do they get them?
perfectrotation.com is they're right on the website.
Okay.
And that's click on the website, perfectrotation.com, and follow the instructions. Buy now
Okay.
and
And
get
if
10.
anybody has questions about these, is there enough on the website that they'll get all their questions answered?
I think they can get their questions answered on the website. If not, then there's certainly a contact us, and
Okay,
either
good.
at info@perfectrotation.com, or the phone number which is there on the site,
Hmm.
which is 415-797-7163.
Great.
I don't Is any of that there? 415
Oh, there you
797
go.
7163 or the website,
Perfect.
perfectnutrition.com.
Great. That's a great pitch too. Um, and right now you're just a one man show, right?
I am a one-man show. And, and if I could take a step backwards,
Mm-hmm.
um, moving into the technology sales and then exiting 2 years after coming in because they hired a director who brought his team in, and out I
Sure.
went. And then I found myself, based on relationships again, through somebody
Mm-hmm.
I met through the Raiders, I found
Uh-huh.
myself managing a professional boxer for 2 years.
Oh,
And
okay.
then after he stopped fighting, I came back to technology sales. And then I also went out on my own on the side and was an NFL agent for about 7 years.
You've got the contacts.
And then I had a fork in the road whether or not to continue with the agent or pay my patent fees rather than my licensing fees. So I bet on myself. So I'm going to continue to bet on myself. And I don't know if I need to take a job. I'm going through the motions now with interviews, and
Yeah,
if something lands where I can really get in there and earn a high commission, then
well,
I
sure.
may do that for a few months. But I know by the summer where this is really going to take off. That just the kid angle alone is.
Yeah, I think so too. And I think if you go backwards in your life and start contacting the contacts that you kind of grew up in the sports arena with, people are going to point you to all different places that you'll be able to sell this.
Oh yeah.
I think you'll have lots of opportunities.
Well, one of the main things that I was going to do, my plan was to start here in Oakland with all of the high schools here and
Right.
maybe middle schools, but that was forbidden. Those things are those I will be able to do that next year, with the pandemic. COVID
Oh,
restricted
that
that.
was what slowed you down. I get it.
And then I had plans to, and I'd already set it up where I would go to the AAU events
Mm-hmm.
and set up. And I did a couple, but then they tightened restrictions and I wasn't able to. But when I was there and I had the larger ball set up,
Mm-hmm.
and all of the parents that came to the table, they said, "Oh, we wish you had a smaller ball for this."
Ah, yeah.
And so I immediately grabbed my trusty translator and I hit Amy and I said, I need a smaller ball that's lighter, smaller in circumference. And we came up with the size 5 ball at 2.5 pounds. This one's 4.
Uh-huh.
And with 2.5, it's a lot easier for the younger kids to handle. And
Great.
so that's
Great.
kind of the story. And I'm going to keep running with it.
I love it. If I can help you in any way, let me know. I wish you well, though, in the meantime. And again, this is Mitch Adams with Perfect Rotation. You could reach him and take a look at those products on perfectrotation.com. And I'm Joni at Looking at Careers with Joni. And I hope you come back and take a look at our videos and talk to us again soon. So thanks for all your help. Bye bye. Bye, Mitch.